Let us see our next question. Mr. Ramesh wants to invest in stock market. He has got the following information about individual securities. We have been provided with information about 7 securities. Mean return, that is X per information, is given to us. Beta information is given, and unsystematic risk, that is provided to us in variance term. The risk-free rate of return is 5% and the market variance is 10%. So sigma m square is given to us, and at the same time RF information is given to us. You are required to answer that. The question says that what should be optimum portfolio, or determine the cutoff point, that is in which securities you should make investment, is a question. Also calculate the proportion, that is the weight in which investment should be made in the securities as mentioned above. Whatever the securities that you select, in which proportion you should make investment, that is a question. Please go through the question. Now friends, for calculation of the cutoff point means we are required to make the selection of the efficient securities in which we should make investment. There is a process like this. First of all, we'll make the calculation of the trainer's ratio. We know that the trainer's ratio is calculated by using the formula. It is X per minus RF divided by beta. That is the way the trainer's ratio can be calculated. Then we have to rearrange the securities in the order of the trainer's ratio, in a way that, say, the security which is having the highest trainer's ratio will be given the first rank, and so on. In that sequence we are required to, say, rearrange the securities. Then we are required to make the calculation of X per minus RF into beta for the security and divide it by the unsystematic risk as written in order of the step number 2. So in this order we are required to do this calculation, that is mean return minus RF, difference of that into beta, the same will be divided with the unsystematic risk. We will compute the cumulative value for the step number 3. We will make this calculation. Again we will make the calculation of the beta square divided by unsystematic risk for each of the security, again in the order of the step number 2. So whatever the trainer's ratio ranking, based on that, so we are required to make the calculation of beta square divided by unsystematic risk, and again its cumulative value will be calculated. That is what, say, we are supposed to do. Finally, we will make the calculation of a value called CI. It will be calculated by using a very simple formula. It is variance of the market portfolio into this cumulative value, that is step number 4, divided by 1 plus variance of the market portfolio into step number 6. That is how we will make the calculation of the CI. Now, which one is the efficient security? Make investment in the securities up to the value of the CI increases. This is the way we are required to, say, calculate the cutoff point, that is the securities in which we have to make investment. This is what the concept that we have. We can say that, say, going only with the trainer's ratio when we make the selection, then we tend to make a wrong selection. Why? Because we make investment only in one security along with the RF. Instead of that, so over here you can make investment in the multiple securities, and with that, say, we are supposed to make the investment. So please write down answer. Calculation of trainer's ratio and its ranking. So column number 1 will be security, Column number 2 will be calculation of the trainer's ratio. Friends, we understand that the formula for the trainer's ratio is x bar minus RF divided by beta. That is the trainer's ratio. In the next column, we will show its calculation. Once we make the computation of the trainer's ratio, then we will place them in the order of ranking. This is the way we are required to do the calculation of the trainer's ratio and its ranking. As far as the security A is concerned, we can see that the mean return is 13%. The risk-free rate of return is 5%. 13 minus 5 divided by beta. Beta for the security A is 1. So the same will be divided by 1 in order to make the calculation of the trainer's ratio. Divide by 1. So it comes to 8. And so on, we are required to do the calculation of the trainer's ratio, and then we will give the rank. Try to do calculation of the trainer's ratio for the remaining securities, and then I do working for you. Then security B, for that the return is 11%. For security B, it is 11 minus 5 divided by 0.5. For security C, it is 19 minus 5 divided by 1. For security D, it is 9 minus 5 divided by 0.5. For security E, it is 25 minus 5 divided by 2. For security F, it is 23 minus 5 so 23 minus 5 divided by 1.5. For security G, it is 14 minus 5 divided by 1.5. This is the way we are required to make the calculation. Okay. Now, let us perform the answer. 11 minus 5, 6 divided by 0.5, that comes to 12. 19 minus 5 is 14, 14 upon 1 is 14 once again. 9 minus 5 is 4, 4 divided by 0.5, that comes to 8. 25 minus 5 is 20, 20 divided by 2 is 10. 23 minus 5 is 18, 18 divided by 1.5. It is 12. 14 minus 5 is 9, 9 divided by 1.5. That comes to 6. This is the way we are required to make the calculation. Now let us give rank. We understand that the security C will be given the first rank. Now we can see that the security B and security F, both of them have same trainer's ratio. In that case, the security which is having comparatively more return will be given preference. That is, in this case, we understand that the B has a return of 11 and F has a return of 23. So security F will be given the preference. So the trainer's ratio is same, but even though it will be given second rank. Next, so the third is security B, fourth is security E. Then again, security A has traders ratio 8 and D has traders ratio once again 8. So what will happen? We are required to give the priority to security which is offering higher return, that is security A. So it is rank 5, this is rank 6, and of course this will be having the last rank 7. This is the way we are required to give rank. Now after making calculation of the traders ratio and giving rank to it, the step number 2 will be rearranging the securities. We'll calculate the X bar minus RF multiplying with beta, dividing the same with the unsystematic risk, and its cumulative value will be calculated. So we understand it is X bar minus RF into beta, will divide the same with the unsystematic risk, and its cumulative value will be calculated. So let on further. Calculation of cumulative value, I am assigning X variable to it, of X bar minus RF into beta divided by unsystematic risk. This is what we are required to calculate. Again, column number 1 will be security, column number 1, that is 2, will be calculation of this answer, and next will be calculation of the cumulative value. So column number 1 security, column number 2 will be X bar minus RF into beta divided by unsystematic risk. Then we'll make the calculation of the cumulative value. And to this cumulative value, I am assigning X variable, because this cumulative value is going to be used in the final formula for calculation of the CI. Now friends, importantly, we are required to do the calculation in this order. We'll make the calculation for security C, then security F, then security B, and so on. So that is what's the order in which we are required to do answer. I request you to do the calculation of the value of X on your own, and then I will show working to you. Let us understand how to do answer. For security C, mean return is provided as 19%. RF is given as 5%. So 19 minus 5 into beta is 1. So for security C, it is 19% is mean return. RF is 5%. So 19 minus 5 into beta. Beta for the security C is 1 divided by unsystematic risk, and unsystematic risk is given for security C as 20. This is the way we are required to do answer. So use your calculator. 19 minus 5 is 14. 14 into 1 is 14 itself, divided by 20. That comes to 0.70. And the cumulative value will be again 0.70. For security F, mean return is given 23, RF is given as 5, multiplied with the beta is 1.50, divided by unsystematic risk is 30. So dividing the same with 30. So please use your calculator. 23 minus 5 is 18. 18 into 1.5, that comes to 27. 27 divided by 30 is 0.90. So cumulative value is 1.60. How this 1.60 is calculated? It is 0.70 plus 0.90. Next is the security B. In that the mean return is 11 minus RF is 5 into beta is 0.50 divided by unsystematic risk is 10. So 11 minus 5 is 6. 6 into 0.5 is 3. 3 divided by 10 is 0.30. Cumulative value is 1.90. 1.6 plus 0.30. This is the way we are required to do answer. For security E, it is 25 minus 5, that is 20 into beta is 2 divided by unsystematic risk is 40. So 25 minus 5 is 20. 20 into 2 is 40. 40 upon 40 is what? So this is 2.90. Then for security A, the return is 13%. Minus 5 into beta is 1 divided by 20. So it is 8 into 1 is 8. 8 upon 20 is 0.4. So this is 3.30. That is 2.9 plus 0.4. For security D, it is 9. 9 minus 5 is 4 into 0.5. That is 2 divided by 50. 0.04. So the cumulative value is 3.34. Then security G. In that case it is 14 minus 5. So it is 9. 9 into 1.5. That comes to 14.5. I'm sorry, 13.5 divided by 3030. That comes to 0.45. That is added to 3.34. So it is 3.79. This is the way we are required to compute the cumulative value of x1 minus RF into beta divided by unsystematic risk. Now friends, we will make the calculation of beta square divided by unsystematic risk, and so we will make the calculation of the cumulative value. Again, we are required to follow the same securities set as per the traders ratio ranking. So write an answer for the calculation of cumulative value of beta square divided by unsystematic risk. I am assigning y variable to it because that is going to be used in the formula later on for each of the security. So we'll work out the answer in this way. So again, column number 1 will be security. Column number 2 will be beta square divided by unsystematic risk. That is our second column. In its next column we will show calculations, and in the last column we will show the cumulative value of beta square divided by unsystematic risk. We will assign y variable to it. That is the way we are required to make the calculation of answer. Try to make calculation of the answer on your own, then I will do answer for you. Let us see how to make the calculation. For security C, beta square, the beta is 1, so it is 1 raised to 2 divided by unsystematic risk. What is unsystematic risk for security C? Unsystematic risk is 20. Okay. For security F, it is again beta square, so 1.50 raised to 2 divided by unsystematic risk. Unsystematic risk is 30. For security B, it is 0.50 raised to 2 divided by again unsystematic risk. Unsystematic risk is 10. For security E, it is 2 raised to 2 divided by 40. Next, security A, in that 1 raised to 2 divided by 20. For security D, it is 0.5 raised to 2 divided by 50. Then for security G, it is 1.5 raised to 2 divided by 30. This is the way first of all we'll that is write the values. Now calculation. Square of 1 is 1 divided by 20 is 0.05. So cumulative value is 0.05 once again. Square of 1.5 is 2.25 divided by 30. That comes to 0.075. So cumulative value is 0.125. That is 0.05 divided by 0.075. That is the way the cumulative value can be found. Square of 0.5 is 0.25 divided by 10. That is 0.025. So 0.125 plus 0.025. So the final answer is 0.15. Square of 2 is 4. 4 divided by 40, that comes to 0.10. Cumulative value is 0.25. 0.15 plus 0.10. Square of 1 is 1 divided by 20 is again 0.05. So it is 0.05. Cumulative value is 0.30. 0.25 plus 0.05. Next is 0.5 square is 0.25 divided by 50. That comes to 0.005. So it is 0.305. Next, square of 1.5 is 1, that is 2.25 divided by 30. 0.075. So the final answer is 0.38. This is the way we are required to compute the cumulative value and to that say I am assigning y variable. Okay. Once all these calculations are over, we will make the calculation of the value of the C. That is, Ci value will be calculated. For that, we will use a formula like this. It is the variance of the market portfolio multiplying with the answer of the step number 4 is X value in this example, divided by 1 plus again variance of the market portfolio into cumulative value of the step number 5, that is step number 6 value, that is y in our example. We will make the calculation. So in the next step we will make the calculation of the Ci. That is, say based on that, say we are required to determine the cutoff point. So write down further answer. Calculation of value of Ci. For that, we will use a formula, that is variance of the market portfolio into X divided by 1 plus variance of market portfolio into y. This is the way the Ci will be calculated. Again, we will make the calculation of the answer in the same order in which, say, we already have made the calculation of the X and Y. So column number 1 will be security. Column number 2 will be Ci. Third column will be calculation. And the last simple column will be selection. The selection is required to be made in a way that, say, till the time the Ci value increases, we should make investment in that many securities. So it may happen that, say, we will make investment in 5 securities. It may happen that we will make investment in 3 securities or any other number of securities. That is the way we are required to make the calculation of the Ci. Of course, logically you can understand that, say, this calculation is required to be performed till the time Ci increases. Afterwards, making calculation is not making a sense, because once Ci value will drop down, then it will drop down consistently. So we don't have to make any calculation later on, but still this is the initial question, so we are going to do the entire answer. Friends, of course you can understand that, so the chances of excess, that is, say, asking this type of question is very less in examination. Still, institute has kept this kind of question in its material, even recent material, and further, say, it was asked way back, say in May 2010, only for once. But of course the chances of asking this kind of question is very less, and we have to only perform the calculations. We don't have to understand the derivation of the formula, because over here that, so the deep mathematics is applied over here for making this calculation. I want you to make the calculation of the Ci value for each of the security. Now friends, for making calculation of the answer, we are required to perform the calculation in this way. We'll start with the variance of the market portfolio, which is provided as 10. Multiplied with the value of the X. As far as the value of the X is concerned, it is 0.70. So it is into 0.70 divided by 1 plus variance of the market portfolio is again 10, multiplied with the value of the Y. So for security C, value of the Y is 0.05. So here it is 0.05. Now friends, we understand that, say, of course, there is a simple rule of BODMAS in which multiplication division will be given preference in comparison to addition. So what happens that, say, you are required to work out the answer in this way. 10 into 0.7 is 7 divided by 10 into 0.05. So it is 0.50 plus 1, that is 1.50. So 7 divided by 1.50, it is 4.666667. So 4.67. And so on, we are required to make the calculation of the answer. For security F also, 10 into value of the x divided by 1 plus 10 into value of the y. This is the way we are required to work out the answer. So for the calculation, for security F, 10 into value of the x is 1.60 divided by 1 plus value of the y is 0.125. 10 into 0.125. So 10 into 1.6 is 16 divided by 10 into 0.125 is 1.25 plus 1, that is 2.25. Then for security B, it is 10 into 1.90 divided by 1 plus 10 into 0.15. So 10 into 1.9 is 19 divided by 0.15 into 10 is 1.5 plus 1, that comes to 2.5. Next, for security E, it is again 10 into 2.90 divided by 1 plus 10 into 0.25. So 10 into 2.9 is 29 divided by 10 into 0.25 is 2.5 plus 1, that comes to 3.5. Then for security A, it is 10 into 3.3 divided by 1 plus 10 into 0.30. So 3.3 into 10 is 33 divided by 10 into 0.3 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4. Next, 10 into 3.34 divided by 1 plus 10 into 0.305. So 3.34 into 10 is 33.4. Whole divided by 0.305 into 10 is 3.05 plus 1, that is 4.05. Next, security G, it is 10 into 3.79 divided by 1 plus 10 into 0.38. So it is 3.79 divided by 3.8 plus 1, 4.8. Okay. Now we'll make the calculation of the CI value. It is 16 divided by 2.25. 7.11. 19 divided by 2.5, it is 7.6. 29 divided by 3.50, it is 8.29. 33 upon 4, 8.25. Now friends, basically there is no need to make the calculation of answer further. Why? Because the value of the CI is now falling down. But yet we'll complete the entire answer. It is 33.4 divided by 4.05. So it is 8.2469. Then it is 3.79 divided by 4.8. Okay, 37.9. I'm sorry. This is 37.9. 37.9 divided by 4.8. So it is 7.8953. So 7.90. This is the way we are required to calculate the value of the CI. The selection, in that say we understand that say security C is selected, security F is selected, B is selected, and E is selected. These four securities are selected. Remaining securities are not selected. Why? Because value of the CI is falling down. Now friends, you can see the summary of the first part of the question. Yet second part is to be done. In the first part of the question, we understand we are required to work out the answer like this. First of all, we will make the calculation of the trainers ratio and it will be given rank. Importantly, we understand that say if at all two securities are having say the same trainers ratio, then in that case the security which is having higher ranking will be given preference. That is the way we are required to give ranking. Then we can do step number 2, in which we can make the calculation of x bar minus RF into beta divided by unsystematic risk, and along with that so we can compute the cumulative value. I am assigning x variable to the cumulative value so that say later on we can do the answer easily. Next is again the cumulative value of beta square divided by unsystematic risk, to which y variable is assigned, and so we will calculate the cumulative value of the same. This is the way we are required to work out the answer. Next is the calculation of the value of the CI. For that, variance of the market portfolio into X divided by 1 plus variance of the market portfolio into Y. We will make investment in first 4 securities. Why? Because we understand that till the time the value of the CI increases, we should make investment. That is what we understand. Now friends, after ascertaining that say these are the 4 securities in which we will invest, we are required to decide that say what is the proportion in which investment will be made, like 10, 20, 30, like something like that, or in some other proportion, so that say we will be able to get the maximum return. For that say we are required to use say the kind of sequence like this. We will make the calculation of the value for trainers ratio minus CI, that is maximum value. In our example, I think it is 8.29. Then we will compute the value of the Z. How Z is calculated? It is found as a product of answer in step number 1 multiplied with beta divided by unsystematic risk. That is the way it will be calculated. And then the weight in the investment to be made in each security is answer of the step number 2 divided by the total of step number 2. It means that say whatever the answer of the Z that we compute, suppose just I am telling you it is 1, 2, 5 and 6. Then we have to make the total. 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 5 is 8, 8 plus 6 is 14. So what will happen? In the first security we will invest 1 by 14, in second one it is 2 by 14, in the third one it is 5 by 14, and the last one it is 6 by 14. That is the proportion in which we have to make investment. This is the way we are required to write the final answer. So please write an answer. Calculation of proportion in which investment to be made in above selected securities So let us have understanding, friends. Let's say how to calculate the proportion in which the investment will be made. So column number 1 will be security. Then in the second column we'll make the calculation of the traders ratio minus Z value. Sorry, traders ratio minus CI value. Minus maximum CI. Whatever the answer that say we have, so that will be multiplied with beta divided by unsystematic risk. That is, so what we'll calculate? We'll compute that is the total of the same, and the total is like the Z, that is, so the total will be calculated, and then we'll calculate the weight or proportion. So the traders ratio minus CI, that is what say we have to do first of all. It is multiplied with the beta divided by unsystematic risk, and that is what we understand is the Z value. We'll compute the total of the same, and then we'll compute the proportion. As I told you, it may be like 1, 2, 5, 6. Okay, then the proportion will be found, and of course we are required to do the answer in the same order that say we already have done over here. C, F, B, E. So it is C, F, B and E. These are the 4 securities in which you will make investment. The traders ratio we already have found in step number 1. So as far as the security C is concerned, its traders ratio is 14. Minus the maximum value is 8.29, where you had stopped. So minus 8.29. Multiplied with the beta. The beta for the security C is 1 and unsystematic risk is 20. Again we will do working for F. As far as security F is concerned, the traders ratio is 12. Minus 8.29. Multiplied with the beta for the security F is 1.50. Divided by the unsystematic risk is 30. Next, security B. In that we understand the traders ratio is 12 once again. Minus 8.29. Multiplied with the beta. For security B, the beta is 0.50. Divided by unsystematic risk is 10. Next is security E. In that, so the traders ratio is 10 minus 8.29. Multiplied with the beta is 2 divided by unsystematic risk is 40. Then we'll compute the total, and based on that total will decide that in what proportion investment should be made. Let us see how to make the calculation of answer. So it is 14 minus 8.29. So it is 5.71 into 1 is going to remain same, divided by 20. So 0.2855. Okay. Now 12 minus 8.29. So 3.71 into 1.50. 5.565 divided by 30. So 0.1855. Next, 12 minus 8.29. So it is again 3.71 into 0.50. So 1.855 divided by 10. So 0.1855. Last, 10 minus 8.29. So it is 1.71 into 2. That is 3.42 divided by 40. That is 0.0855. Okay. This is the way we have the CI value. That is the value of the Z. We'll calculate the total 2855 plus 0.1855 plus again 0.1855 plus 0.0855. That comes to 0.7420. Okay. Now we'll compute the proportion in which the investment should be made, and of course its total would be 1. So friends, what will happen? The proportion of the security C will be found like this: 0.2855 divided by 0.7420. Next, 0.1855 divided by 0.7420. Next, same, so we need not to write once again, 0.0855 divided by 0.7420. That is the way we are required to find. So 0.2855 divided by 0.7420. So 0.3848. So 38.48% funds should be invested in the first security. 0.1855 divided by 0.7420. That comes to exactly 25%. Next one will be of course 25%. For the last one we will not make any calculation, but it will be kept as balancing figure. So 0.1152. This is the way we are required to make the calculation. Okay. Now friends, if at all we make calculation, 0.0855 divided by 0.7420, it comes to 1152. Okay, exactly it is matching. Otherwise there may be some slightly mismatch, but we have to take it as balancing figure. And on a safer side, always make one calculation of the same also. Why? Because the balancing figure and the value that we compute should not have the too much difference. So this is the final answer, that this is the proportion in which investment should be made in these 4 securities. Please write down heading of the table: calculation of proportion in which investment to be made in selected securities. In selected This is the way we are required to do answer. Friends, this is the heading of the answer number 2. Okay, we already have done it. Okay, we already have done the heading. Sorry, the heading is already written. So how to calculate how to compute the proportion? For that, we will compute a value of the Z. Z is calculated like this: trainer's ratio minus maximum CI into beta divided by unsystematic risk, and then we'll compute the proportion in which investment to be made.